So Dave Taylor did all of these intermission things.
Yeah.
Did all the programming for that. So yeah, so this level is probably the level in Doom that was around the longest.
Yeah.
So I did E1, I did E1M2 before E1M1.
Mm-hmm.
So E1M2, this is almost like my level development. Like when I made the room, it's in this level.
Yeah,
right?
I remember seeing screenshots from the very earliest alpha where you had this part of this room specifically, right?
The room that I made that got everybody excited about it. Like when I was like, I'm going to create the abstract level design, even though I didn't say that. When I did that, it was a room that's just around the corner and down. So that's the room that I actually put together and went, that's what we're doing. And then the artist came in and was like, yeah, that looks really cool. Because I told him, like, this is the action in here. And so then, I had already made this part. No, I hadn't made this part yet. I just had made that one little thing. And it didn't even have, like, it doesn't, like, the connections to it aren't even around anymore. It was just that one, there was a room and there was a bunch of other stuff that got completely changed. But that room remained the same. So I was like, I'm going to keep this room like this because this is where I came up with the idea for this. I don't want to, like, destroy it and that's never in the game anymore. So I kept the room exactly the way it was and then rebuilt, like, the level around it. But this has been around for a long time. Like, to when we finally got that really cool texture with the diamond lights and stuff, I put that up there. It was some other square light texture that wasn't exciting, but that one looked really good. And Fulbright colors and everything. But yeah, this area here was another, I think, really interesting to play area.
Definitely, yeah. It's a hub. Like,
yeah, it's like a hub of the level that you don't see in a lot of the other levels. Because I didn't want to. Like, one of the things in level design that I really hate is symmetry. I can't stand symmetry because that's just lazy ass. That's basically,
it's not gonna surprise
copy, flip, paste, And to me, it's like, well, you don't care about your level then. If you're just going to do that, you're just getting a paycheck. So I hate symmetry. So asymmetrical design is the thing that's, like, most exciting to me. So, like, here's the real lit front and this kind of dark back here. One of the things that I think is important in level design is having contrast in every element of the level. So there's a contrast in the height here. There's like low and high, and it changes all the time. Low, and then it's gonna be really high here. And sometimes those little corners. I'll adjust the height just so I can see a corner. And sometimes I think I would, like, remember, like, what that height is. It's like 112 or something. And so I would use that a lot. So it's like, because I want to peek. And see if there's anything, like, just barely there. So, like, having a little hallway, and then it opens up into a big thing, and then back into a little tight thing. There's actually
there's
an untextured wall right up here.
Oh, okay, like just around that you'll never see.
No, it's the one that it's right. Oh. It's this wall on the other side that way.
Oh, okay. Yep.
It's like, and I'm like, no one's gonna see it, but then it's like, other people that are purists are just like, oh, he's just lazy and all that stuff. And it's funny because, like, I believe now that I should have textured that wall.
Right.
Like, if you know that there's something wrong, even if people can't see it, you need to fix it. Just in case. Or just to feel good about your stuff. So then it was just like, geez, do I go here? Do I go over here? That thing over there is locked. There's this up here, which is a shotgun. And usually there's an imp up here in hard mode. Normal mode, no. I should put this in hard mode, though. This is too easy. That was a really good thing right there.
Yeah, that's secret.
Yeah, because this height, this whole thing continued except for right there. And it was just such a cool, weird interior wall.
Yeah. Like, this texture used judiciously is, like, feels really awesome.
This is
you're in the guts of something.
This is like so we had, like, circuit boards lying around the office and stuff. So we, like, scanned in a circuit board, and so you can see, like, there's a chip there, and then just a bunch of other stuff that's from, like, the BFG weapon that we scanned in.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then there's a backpack.
And that opens up a secret.
The other outside. How do I get out there? Like, this was really important when we were making the engine to make sure that these lines were good. Because other 3D engines, these lines would snap around because of precision.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
So like to be able to do this is a big deal.
Yeah.
To be able to have that be perfect and not just snap around.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, and like the higher ceiling here and the lower ceiling elsewhere.
Yeah,
and
over
like,
here, up, down, height contrast.
Yep. Yep.
And action too, just action contrast. This is like a really light combat thing here.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Like it's really more, it's combat to just get you exploring and interested, yeah.
And you know, it's funny, I've seen a lot of people play the level. I've never seen people play this level and open this door first.
You're right, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Because they're over here at some point,
yep.
and then they finally find the door.
Yeah, yep.
You know? So I wish that there were analytics back then.
Right, because you could have like...
I could have figured out, wow, this is an interesting property of design here, that people never open this door because of the flow.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
So yeah, so this here, getting that red key card. Yeah. So this here, like this little bit of symmetry going up and down right here, I think is okay because it makes sense. Like people would have designed it like this.
Yeah, yeah.
But you're not seeing the same thing on both sides.
Yeah,
you know, like and here's the
that secret opens up there, so you know it gets really
like this side is not like this side.
Yeah,
you know, because there's a chain gun over here.
Yep.
This has a height up here.
Yeah.
But yeah, full on symmetry is just and I've seen that before. And I always tell the designers you need to redo one of these halves.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because a little bit is okay, but not a giant level where people get confused because they don't know which side they're on, you know?
Yeah, it just means that it won't be surprising, you know?
It just feels lazy. I think, you know, people have an inherent sense of quality. It's one of the things that Walt Disney absolutely believed, that people understand quality even if they can't voice what it is.
Totally, yeah.
So it's important to give them quality.
Yeah. Really good, like the trim texture here is like a really consistently used motif, and that like adds so much visual cohesion. You know,
it's
like
that was the other important thing. Texture change requires a texture. If you're gonna go with a height change requires a texture, and a texture change requires a middle texture. You know, if it's not within the same color family, kind of thing. So I would have these are okay. They kind of belong to the same family, but when it's really different, like that door. You know, there's these lights, which really are just to be a light.
Yeah,
just
just to call it out.
But really, here is you know, completely different.
Yeah. These textures that work nicely with like there was the one
slime.
in E1M1 that is like transitions from the slime to another thing. Like that makes the game look so much better.
Yeah, like the bottoms of this here. Are kind of cool. Yeah. So I mean, the funny thing is, like while we were making these, we were asking for some tech from John on like, can we peg textures? Because they weren't always pegged. Like, can we have a flag just to keep textures solidly at the top like this? Because we want it to be consistent, just punch a hole in it. And it wasn't like that at the very beginning. So we had to ask for some flags on all this stuff. And it's funny, like this is, it feels like a secret, but it's not really a secret. Because it's like, here it is, if you're gonna go explore that little area, which is not a big deal, you know. So you're gonna get it. Like this is like give me like an easy secret. This is way easier than the one in the first room. But here's where I wanted to show like real hard contrast lines here, like full brightness, and then give people a crazy maze. It's like I know you're waiting for the maze. Where's the maze in this game? And it's gonna be right here. Well,
and this was like, I mean, there were mazes. There were mazes in Wolf 3D, but like they weren't dark like this. This was for a long time. This was the scariest area of the game to me, you know, because like
it was
because of that contrast.
And the other thing was, it's funny because when you're in this dim area, it doesn't seem like it's too you know, I can see pretty well, but then you get out here, it's like, this is a big contrast. But like Wolfenstein was expected to be mazy because they're all square blocks and stuff. So this was not like it was. You were not shown at the very beginning that this is a mazy game. Totally. And so like when you get to this point, it's like that's right. They can do mazes, but look at the maze that we can do here. You know, with that ceiling there.
Interesting texture changes. The
light drawing projected lights. You know, projected shadows or whatever.
Chop up the sector and you know.
Just draw. It was so funny. It was so easy to draw the lights. You know, it was really like define the sector look, and then just now the when you were making, you probably made levels in Doom Builder or whatever if you ever played with Doom levels.
Yep.
And so it's so funny because we never told people how the editor was made. We gave them line defs, sector defs, and the data for the sectors and stuff, and let people like, here's our data structure, make an editor, but we never told them how DoomEd worked.
Right.
So everybody that's not a tool developer made tools, like, because there weren't any people didn't write that stuff back then. So like now they're becoming a tool creator, and so they're coming up with UI and stuff that they think would be good for building levels, but it was really cumbersome. I remember seeing a bunch of DEU and a bunch of those things. I'm just like, it was so much easier the way we did it on Next Step, and we never told anybody how we did it. But like this room is a perfect example of why the Next Step way was the easiest way with all of these line these are a ton of sectors here, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So what we did was I had a sector inspector on the side that had like the texture,
floor and ceiling,
floor and ceiling, the light value and the height of the ceiling and the height of the floor, and it was all on one thing. And so that was like, that held a sector's information. That was the current information that I could use to put in here. And so what I could do is I could just click in a sector anywhere and it would flood fill it.
Paint it down, right?
And then I could right click in a sector and it would pick it up and change that inspector to that. So I could go basically change, make it full bright and go click, pull down the light value, and then click all the other ones. And it's like same floor, same height, same ceiling texture, everything. I just changed the light level and there it is. And it took nothing versus the hard way of all the other ones, by highlighting all the lines and then telling it what the sector def is, and
totally.
So much easier to do just the flood filling.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. More modern tools like Doom Builder and then like Slade's map editor is getting really good now. They have that kind of stuff.
That stuff in
where you can. It's like the eyedropper tool in Photoshop. Where,
super.
They have like the 3D preview. Which you can just be like, all right, I can visually align these textures and pick and paste. Copy paste texture assignments and all that stuff.
Yeah, we didn't have a previewer in DoomEd, but we visualized it mentally, like what it looked like. And the thing is, we had two machines. So I had my DOS machine, and I had my Next Step machine on the right. So I had my Next Step here, and DOS was over here. And so I was right-handed when I was making levels, and left-handed when I'm playing the game.
Okay, yeah,
the mouse on my opposite side.
Nice.
So I got ambidextrous.
Nice. Wow.
Oh yeah, there's a dude. That was one of the most fun things ever.
Nice.
Oh, and they added some awesome effects.
Yeah, Doomsday has all the particles and stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, and I don't, I just basically thought, I'm going to make a maze. I'm going to let people get in the dark and get confused for a little bit and just like go around the corner and here's a monster. And the cool thing is that the renderer was so fast in here that I didn't have to make corners. I didn't have to do that. It was really fast. I didn't need to do what we called PVS halls, the potential visible set hallway. It's like, the potential visible set is gigantic, so put a 90 degree in here, and the BSPer will get rid of it, right? So we never had that problem here. And Wolfenstein and this would basically render everything that could be shown, right? Versus a lot of other games that just stop after a while. And so those were games where you could just like draw forever, and it would still be really fast. And then this was the okay, red glowing ceiling. Something else is going to happen back here, which is the other cool secret. This level really did have a lot of stuff in it.
Yeah.
When you think
about it. That's the first. Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah.
First secret wall.
Yep. Yeah. That's the first shoot secret, right?
Yeah.
Where and you triggered it just by shooting.
Just
those
by
guys.
randomly shooting those dudes, and then people learned. Oh. How did that open? Shoot secret.
And then this.
And then you get the shotgun. It's just like one thing after another.
Yeah.
And so this was kind of cool because I just love those barrels. Barrels are fun.
Yeah.
That was Sandy's name for him. That's why he made the level. Barrels are fun. Dun dun dun.
Yeah,
we should have had we should have had something here. But this was a perfect place to try it out on someone who couldn't come after you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Tom's ex-girlfriend's.
Oh, Chainsaw, that's right.
Chainsaw.
Yep.
The eager beaver.
Yep. Who's holding that?
That's Kevin Cloud.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Kevin Kevin did all the scanning of the weapons. He handled the weapons graphics.
Yeah.
So he did Adrian didn't draw any weapon stuff.
Right.
He was doing all the monsters and level textures, and Kevin did level textures too, but he did all the weapons. I think Adrian did the guy's face. Let's see. So yeah, so this is like a lot of cool like stuff, just one thing after another. It's like one new thing after another new thing being introduced to just a nice normal progression that you find a secret, and then it's this dark maze, and then it's a shootable wall, then it's the chainsaw. You know, it's like the first red card, outdoor secret, first 100 health, first chain gun. You know, just bam, bam, bam. So this level was packed full of a ton of stuff.
Yeah, it really does, and it introduces all of those things pretty economically. You know, like it's just it's melded together.
Well,
it doesn't feel like you're being introduced to these things. It's just
So while I was making the levels, like I would make the level. The nice thing about having one computer to make the level on and the other computer to run it is that I can massively iterate. So I can basically sit here running through the game and get a feel for the scale and all that and the speed. And then over here I can go like, I gotta stretch that out. You know, just stretch the thing out and do whatever. And you know, okay, so I'm past that. Now I'm gonna do this next thing, and something's gonna need tweaking. The barrel's in the way or whatever. Move it over here. So I would basically edit it and just run it again. And they were all made while I'm making the level. I'm creating the level even further. It's not like I'm going to plan it out on paper and have a concept guy and all this stuff and then like lay it down, because that's waterfall to me, you know. And so this game was not. This was all organic. The thought process at the beginning of any level is, what do I want the player to see when this thing starts up, and how can it be cool? You know, at the very beginning, but not put them in danger, except for E4 everything.
Right. Yeah.
Like you're always in danger.
That's the
But in here, it's like, you know, what can I do so they see a cool thing, and then what kind of possibilities can I give them, because I hate linear. So that's basically what they get. Even though this is like, okay, this is kind of linear. But there's all these little things.
There's these branches that really reward you.
I didn't make like a whole other path to get to the exit. Which I could have done, but I think that people may have regretted, like, I shouldn't have taken that side. I want to go take the other side, and then people would double back and go in there, maybe have two exits out of a level. But we were just more about, let's let them see really cool stuff and see secrets, feel like they have a lot of choice in where they go, and then they'll get out of the level. This is the cheat way. But this is the room that basically had the. So it was this room, and this elevator was real important, but I didn't have this elevator at the very beginning. So when you came into the room, it was just on a flat floor like this. You just kind of walked in and saw these things, and they weren't blinking, I don't think. Maybe they were blinking, and I had guys up there, and so I was like, I didn't put the guys up there when I made the room. I did it when it was like a level, but I basically just had them there, and I was like, this is gonna have guys up there, doors there to get you out of here, and all this stuff. There's a switch right in front of you, barrels that you can use to blow the guys up in the room, and all this stuff. And they're just like, that looks like a fun place. You know?
Totally.
And so I was like, okay, we're gonna do this. Lots of height, lots of contrast with light, height, contrast. Because when you came in here, I ran them through a little. It was a stairway that kind of went up like this with silver walls, and then there was the room, and so basically like and so they're in a cramped hallway, and I'm like, check it out, and I go into this room, and they're like, whoa, because it felt really different.
Totally.
The previous was like, oh, this is Wolf Plus, this is Wolfenstein Plus. It's a bright hallway, and it's letting me turn, so yay plus. And then you get into this room here, and it's like, okay, that's not like any other game. And so that also became one of the design, like, golden rules of our design was, you can't have made this room in the previous game. If you could have made this room in the previous game, you're doing it wrong.
Right.
When we were doing Quake, right, we're making Quake. It's like Quake, and Doom had all these walls that had all kinds of angles and stuff. Where's the 3D? Where's the full 3D? Why? Look at the ceiling. why isn't that cool? Like
Yep.
if that's like a Doom ceiling, forget it. You know, redo it. So
Yeah,
that's why the ceilings were detailed. Why on E1M1 when you come down the stairs, you see under a pathway that you can kind of get on.
Yep.
You know, it's like oh, there's 3D stuff.
Well, Quake 1 E1M1 has it has like that whole ramp that takes you down, right? So
yeah,
you're
that's
like really aware
at the
of
very
like,
end.
and it's ramped, so you have like the sloping floors and
sloping
just all that
floors,
stuff,
the cool jumping up secret thing into that top area.
Yep, totally, yeah.
And the things that come up, the lights. That kind of come up.
Yeah, like just the more advanced scripting that you had, yeah, totally.
Yeah, and those were actually, it was nice that those were just kind of built-ins too.
Yeah.
You didn't have to do much, but you could script if you wanted to. And so like two things open up with a slight little, kind of like I called it like a movie theater light, like the floor lights, to let you kind of see your way through.
Yeah.
Get on through here. Shut up. All right. Yeah, and then there was like this other like, on the hard mode, there's like a secret guy down here that shreds you up. Just like, and you can see out a little bit there.
Yep.
A little bit more. E1M7 had like probably my favorite outside area.
Yeah.
A really big, huge one out there.
Yep.